Welcome in. It is the ATB show at the buzzer. We are brought to you by our dear friends at AAA Work Trucks, and you're going to hear about that from Rubber Shoes because he's the only person that cares enough to show up. Yeah, all the parental summer activities are happening as school's closing out. I think against his will, even though he's a doting father, you've got Scotty Duquette at some sort of a jazzercise, gymnasticise, dance recital. I don't know what it was. So we'll get him back next week, and I believe Adam is the girls have their twins have their birthday, so that's happening. So there's a ton of cake going on in beautiful downtown Connecticut.
How come we weren't invited?
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody loves us. So
like
rubber shoes in beautiful downtown Lowell. I'm in beautiful downtown New Hampshire. We've got so much to discuss. So much to discuss. AAA Work Trucks, take it away. Go ahead.
Yes, brought to you by AAA Work Trucks, your one-stop shop for all your work truck needs. If they go in or on a vehicle, it's a good bet AAA can take care of for you. Give them a call at 866-783-6222 or check them out online at aaaworktrucks.com.
Perfect. Yeah, all the boxes we need to check as we get through the laundry list of sorrows. So the only thing I'm looking forward to right now, have you seen the tee times? And we'll get there in a second. Rory and Koepka tee off tomorrow together. I don't hate that. They're already doing exactly what they should be doing with this entire story. I need you to talk me off the green monster when it comes to the Red Sox. I thought last night as I watched them F up again, if anybody could talk me down, or maybe you can't. Maybe we both need therapy. I don't know. The Red Sox
might both be up there.
I would like to know if we could ever get a coach like Cassidy for our hockey team. That would be great. Also fascinating that he went in blind and made that happen, right? And he had wonderful remarks, which we'll talk about in a second. And apparently, DeAndre Hopkins is coming to town tomorrow for a visit. Whether we should be excited about that or not, I don't know. I'm just not sure. And the Celtics, I'm sure there's something we could talk about with the Celtics.
Oh, yeah,
I guess.
Apparently, you haven't heard.
Oh no, I know. I'm coming out from underneath the rock. Apparently, what happened with the Celtics?
So,
oh boy.
So there's two. There's people saying they're in, and there's people saying they're not in. But Bradley Beal is on the table, and I guess he could come cheap. So that was a big story today that came out. Jason Tatum's best friend is available.
Interesting. Who do you think define cheap? I mean, this isn't,
Yeah, I don't know what they mean by cheap. Maybe it's not going to take players; it will just take draft picks. Maybe they don't. You don't have to give up Jaylen Brown to get him.
Yeah. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Or does that make sense to move him out?
No,
no.
Although there doesn't seem to be a team that has a big three right now.
Mm-hmm.
It was Jokic and Murray.
Mm-hmm.
Although Aaron Gordon was a good addition, but I wouldn't consider that a big three. Miami Heat wasn't even close to have it. They didn't even have a big two. It's like they swapped off. Butler would have good games, and Adebayo would have good games. They never seemed to really do it together.
Well, we certainly didn't.
Right. Oh, that's what cost us. But
we didn't either.
I mean, but Bradley Beal is a really good player. He can score points himself. He's pretty sure he takes the ball up, which Jason Tatum takes the ball up, Jaylen Brown takes the ball up. We've kind of already had that. Mm-hmm. I think they need someone to take the ball up away from their two big stars, and someone that's going to think distributing first, not trying to score themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But adding a 25-plus point a game player wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
Figure it out, right?
Yeah. That's good news. That's good news.
So that was that's what I heard today. That's why I wore this, because all right, basketball season's over, turn the page. We can start looking forward to next year. And
Well, I wanted to turn the page to the Red
today.
Sox, but it's a pretty shitty book that we get to read every night. And it's just everybody has heard me bitch about the fact that I don't like turning on the Red Sox and watching them. The West Coast. I'm not going to make it through even with the pitch clock. It's tough to make it through a West Coast game that starts at 10:15 or 10 o'clock or whatever.
I can barely make it to the first pitch.
And even more boring than that is like I want to be excited about Fenway, but it's been overcast. And then arguably one of the worst uniforms in all of professional sports. The Rockies are just terrible, just bland. What? The Rockies, really?
Purple's not bland.
Their whole take, though, like there's nothing about it that jumps off the page. Nope.
Yeah, see, I've always liked the Rockies uniforms.
No, but and just
now the Padres. That's a different thing.
Oh, I love the Padres. See, there we go. There we go. Love the Padres.
So ugly.
Love the Padres. Now that they've gone back to the classic,
the old Canucks jerseys.
The brown and the gold. The Canucks jerseys are great too. See, this is why we're not friends. Yeah. Are you kidding me? All right. Interesting. Anyway, just a decent amount of runs on the board, yet seemingly boring games, and then ending so poorly. Just night after night after night.
Both nights. I stayed up to the end of the ninth, and I'm like, I'm not going to bed. I'm mad enough that they are tied right now. I'm not going to go to bed even more mad and stay up and watch them blow it. So I went to bed both nights before the 10th. So I woke up, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This morning, like, again, in the 10th inning,
I stayed up for the stupid the last two nights, and you know how much Janina loves the fact that, like, you know, that it's just so bright because it's a massive TV in our bedroom, right? Yeah. So it's like she just hates the brightness. It's like she invariably will go and get her blinders and put on her blinders, and like the last thing she hears, like even with the blinders on, when the TV shuts off, the room goes dark, and she just hears me say, "Honest to God," and like the remote clicks and hits the bedside table. It's just, I don't know, and I want to enjoy them, and I watch it passively. She's Candy Crushing, I'm TikToking. It's on in the background, like I'm watching it, but I'm not taking notes. I'm not scoring. I'm not doing box scores, but it's just not enjoyable right now. And there's just even Devers hasn't been noteworthy. Nobody seems to be hitting.
Devers has had 2 homers last night.
Yes,
I think he had a homer the night before too.
I say that, but
he
hasn't
to pick up. But
he hasn't been him. And then we were. I'll blame it on both of us because I think it was just you and I a few weeks ago. We were dumb enough to talk about how Sale looked.
I know.
And do we get him back in August or September? What are we looking at?
I mean, it was upgraded to the 60-day.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah. So
holy smokes.
It looks to me that Cora is trying to get fired because he does not agree with anything Chaim Bloom's doing, and so he's been making statements to the press that are digs at Chaim Bloom, he loves Kike Hernandez, and he played him at short. He loves him, but at a point he's like, okay. So he pretty much said yesterday before the game that Kike is not an everyday player at shortstop, and that you'll be getting Reyes more. And then Reyes makes a bad play last night.
Yep.
The Trevor Story thing didn't happen in spring training. They knew before spring training they're down a shortstop going into the season. That was their plan. Let Bogarts go, Story play short. But they knew this well in time that they could have went out. And, I mean, they did try to get a Mondesi, but he's just a defensive player. They didn't try to fill the holes again. Again, they're just grabbing as many things out there and see what hits.
Yeah.
I mean, Justin Turner's been a good pickup. Duvall was decent when he before he broke his wrist. So they have made some splashes, but they're the starting pitching is Bayo looks like he's getting there, but still this is his first full season as a
Yeah.
starter.
Yep.
And then once Sale went down, now you're back to Cutter Crawford in the starting lineup again, and he's not a starter. He's good for 2 innings max. He can't go 3 or more. Majority of the time, like he's had flashes where he'll be able to put 6 innings together, but majority of the time he's good for 1-2 innings. Get him out of there. And he's Cora's hamstrung. It's and he's starting to make it known, and it'll if they put on if they end up a 10-game losing streak, I think Cora's gone. And I think he wants to be.
Oh yeah, I if the clubhouse likes him, which seems to be the consensus,
Yep.
and the players like him, and Heimblum is not getting the work done. This has been, I think we talked about this last week. And not that it's necessarily what he wants to do, but he does want to have that kind of control. Do you slide him up and bring in a new manager? Is he do you think he's ready for that? Do you think he would want to do that if they did make the Heimblum decision? I'm not sure. Like, do they get to the All-Star break and see how we come out on the other side, the Tim Lindsay theory, which I'm hopeful for, or do they do some damage at the All-Star break and see if that fixes it? What's that?
This depends on how big a hole they're in.
No, I hear you. Yeah, whether they're going to be buyers or sellers, sure.
They're in last place in the AL East, which is the toughest division, but they're last week they were 3 games. I didn't check this week to see how far they're out now behind the wild card. I mean, I'm guessing they're probably at least 5 out now.
Yep.
Let's see. Wild card, they are 5.5 games out now, and they have 3 teams ahead of them, or 4, 4 if you count the team that's the last wild card. So they have 4 teams they got to get past, and they're 5.5 games out. If that, if they're 10 games out at All-Star break, one, they're not making any moves except to sell pieces, and I think Cora might be gone. So I think I understand what he's doing. He doesn't want this to fall on him. Like, this isn't his fault that, they were in last place last year and that they're in last place now. It's what he's been given to work with,
Yep.
So it's as a manager, you can only play the people that you're given, and he's definitely, and that whole thing with that Damarty guy that came up last year, had the I don't know if it was tweets or Instagram posts or whatever, but he had like homophobic.
Had to apologize for. Yep. Yep.
And they left Cora out to hang out to dry. That he was the only one there the day that he was brought up. None of the front office was there to speak. Heimblum brings him up. That's his guy. He activates him, brings him up, and he makes Cora answer for him.
Doesn't speak to it, right?
So I think that was kind of things were rocky before that, and I think that kind of because then also he benched Verdugo, who was the major part of the Mookie Betts trade.
Yep.
That Heimblum did. So there was a lot of other things that Cora has done in the last week, besides saying things. There's moves he's made on the field to be like, basically he's also said that Tristan Casas isn't playing first base. They moved Turner over to play first base now because he's a better first baseman. So he's like throwing all this stuff in Heimblum's face.
Yep. So if let's say they streak out and it's 10 in a row, and we're coming up on the break anyway, right? Which is horrifying. It's almost here.
Yeah, another month. Yep.
Do they and they clear the deck, get rid of Cora? Who do they elevate a bench coach, or do they actually bring somebody in from the outside? What do you think they do?
I think at this point in the season, probably would Veritek want it? I know a lot of people want to see him as
Yeah.
a next coach, but do you want to get thrown in a spot where a team's going to suck, and you go? I definitely think it'll be an interim, someone that's already there. They won't try. There's no one out there to really hire to come in, so it's definitely going to be someone that's on the bench right now, and Veritek is probably the guy, but like I said, does he want it and have unless he feels like I can get these guys to win and he feels like they have enough in there, and then then he takes it. But yeah, I think that's probably what we all think, but then there's probably some other bench coach in there that we don't even know who it is, and they're like, oh yeah, that's gonna be the guy.
Well, and if you do the interim coach, it'll be so boring to watch that happen. But if you do that and you do wait, that I think either way, when you're sitting down with Veritek, the conversation has got to be like he's tall enough for the ride to walk in and sit down and be like, no, he's got to go.
Yeah,
I'll take this job if he goes. Right. If he's with almost everybody else identified, Heim's the problem. And I don't. Yeah, I if they're willing to have that conversation mid-season at the break or whatever, if they think, but that doesn't make any sense. We're talking about getting rid of Cora. If he were going to do that, I'd love if they just said, "Hey, let's just go get dinner. We want to pick your brain." And he's like, "Yeah, you know what? I don't think you've given Alex
get rid of Cora and Bloom at the same time."
No. Let Veritek go out and meet them at Ruth's Chris and have a steak and say, "You know what you should do? You should replace the top."
Yeah.
And give Cora a better chance right now. Yeah. Like the common denominator is the questionable stuff that's happening upstairs, right? And you could argue same thing just sort of happened for the Bruins in the last 12 months, but then you just had what we perceived as the front office or the skybox making some great decisions outside of that one young kid that bullied the kid that they brought in and got rid of. Yeah. But like outside of that, the front office over at the Bruins had perceivably a great year, and then we got swept. So, and yeah, now everybody this morning is wondering, should we get rid of Cassidy, which is a bad transition over to the Bruins, but it's all the same conversation. It's just so ironic, The
wife and I had this conversation on the way. We both agree. We feel the same way. If Cassidy stayed here, they would have barely made the playoffs because Bergeron wasn't going to be here. Krejci wasn't going to be here. DeBrusk was probably not going to be here. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those other guys in that locker room didn't care for him.
Yeah, they were sour.
It wasn't going to happen here. So all those people out there that say, "Oh, see, if we kept Cassidy, we would have won the Stanley Cup." No, we wouldn't. We wouldn't have been in the finals. We wouldn't have had a chance to be in the finals. And another thing, we were in the finals with Cassidy a few years ago, and they didn't win because it's the team. The team. They need to fix people on this team.
Yep.
It's not the coach. Like Montgomery let them play the style that the players wanted to play, which was very good in the regular season. But then come playoff time, it's a different game. So that's, and the rumors you hear out of the locker room out in Vegas is everyone loved Cassidy. So it's. They loved him here when he was first. A certain type of every coach, if things start going bad, players start not listening, and then like if you're a tougher coach and you say things to the public and you make things harder in practice, or you bench a player to make a statement, the players don't like that, and once that. If you're not winning from it, they get tired of it, then they blame the coach, and they're like, yeah, I'm not playing for this guy. So fresh face, new way of playing. It worked out for this season. We'll see going forward. Bruins have a lot of decisions to make and not a lot of money to make them with. hard up against the cap, and there's definitely going to be players gone from this. I mean, Krejci pretty much definitely is gone from this, but he was only making $1 million, so that doesn't clear up a ton.
No. Yep.
Bergeron, if he stays or goes, he was only $1 million too. You know, they both took sweetheart deals to stay one more
Be
year.
part of the show. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So, you know, if either one of them leaves, it doesn't clear up a lot of money. I know they're reports that they're trying to re-sign Tyler Bertuzzi, which I would love. I love that kid. But
and who do they deal? Do they deal Sway or Olmark? I know he's a lot of money, but he just had a Vezina. Did he get the Vezina? Yes, that was the no-brainer, right?
I don't.
Or did he not
I don't
get the
think
Vezina?
those awards. I don't think those awards have come out yet.
Oh, that happens after the fact. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like sometimes
Yeah, there's some of the
the NFL does theirs before everything starts.
yeah.
Or no. Yeah,
like,
perilously close.
Last
sure.
night, Marsha Show won the Conn Smythe because they give it out at the end of the playoffs. He was the playoff MVP, but other than
Yep.
that, I don't think any of the other awards have, unless they're like the scoring title award, like things that were, it can only be one person. The other ones where there's 3 finalists, that they have a awards night.
Yep.
That it's summer's not looking too good.
So
Although
you're back to they ruined your
could
summer.
totally see them doing the Veritek thing just to get a splash. Like that'll be a headline
Yep.
that the Red Sox can grab for, you know, a
10
week.
seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. I can totally see them doing that just for that. You know, the team still sucks, but look, we hired Jason Veritek as the manager.
Yeah. Yeah, and it will
Because everyone
draw.
loves him.
Yep. Well, that's just it. Well, that's what makes that choice so difficult. Does he want that because he's sort of in a place now where, I mean, you say Veritek to me, and all I think is he's punching A-Rod in the face at home plate.
Right.
And that was that. That's when 2004 turned. It was that day, that fight, July 17th, I think, actually.
We had that. Oh, I think
Maybe I'm wrong. I
Right,
feel
we
like
all-
it was.
we have that picture, but we don't have it hung up because we only have pictures that have autographed
I appreciate
on the
that.
wall.
I know
Because we have way too many things, so we're like, okay, only autographed pictures go up on the wall.
I know that we have that somewhere from the, of course, the trips to the Golden Gloves where you can do that
Oh, yeah,
auction with
yep,
all the stuff.
yep.
We definitely have that picture somewhere. I think Bubba might have it in his room.
We have it. We
And
also have.
I swear, I think it was July of that year. Wasn't it July? I think when that fight took place?
Leslie won an auction thing. Oh no, it wasn't an auction. It was I think a raffle. You know, you fill the basket up with the raffle tickets, and she won the picture of the 2 goalies. You know, going in for the hug. And
yes. Yep.
she gave it to Steph. So we have
That's
that.
awesome.
But need to get that signed.
Yes, absolutely. Oh boy.
I know it's depressing when you start really when you really start thinking it's like, okay, that, and it's like we have football practice to look forward to.
Well, we you know, the potential, which was tough, and I don't remember the last time it's never happened. I don't think we've ever had the Celtics and the Bruins both have a parade. Nope.
In the same year, no.
Nope. There was, because I remember telling you guys that they were talking about it on the radio. If the series had stretched out, if both series had stretched out, and mathematically they had it set up that Father's Day was supposed to be.
Yeah, that girl on Greg Hill show has no clue.
Oh my God, why do you say that?
Because they don't play on the same day. The NHL finals and the NBA finals, they never play on the same day.
They never play on the same day. Oh,
There
okay.
was no way they were both going to be playing on Father's Day.
Okay, but it dragged out to this weekend though. It could have both series could have, but it would have been Saturday, Sunday.
What was it?
Yes.
Both of them had game 5, so game 6 of the NBA would have been probably tonight or tomorrow. Let's see. Has it been 5 days in between games yet?
Honestly, right? Yeah. So one of them would have been Sunday. Okay, but it would have been. They would have both been this weekend, maybe. Like Friday, Sunday, or Saturday,
Right.
Sunday, something like that. So I guess it's that, and it was the hope that the Red Sox were going to do some. I don't know. Like and you made a great point. You brought up the whole, the whole story thing, like stuff that they knew during the offseason.
Yeah.
That they could have cured.
So what they're going to do, so Trevor Story is most likely coming back right around the All-Star break. So maybe they wait till after the All-Star break to bring him back. They're gonna throw that out as, this is
That's our hope.
just as good as a trade.
Yep.
We just traded to get a piece. We got Trevor Story back, just like they did with Chris Sale last year and the year before. Oh, we got Chris Sale back. That was our transaction that we needed to make. So so Trevor Story is supposed to come back. They're gonna have him come back and only DH for a month. He's not ready to play the field yet. So they say he's not going to be able to play shortstop until like August. But he'll come back off the DL and play DH, BDH. Or the IL, sorry, it's not the DH. We can't say disabled list anymore.
Yes,
it's
not the injured
list.
Injured list, yes.
Yeah, so that's going to be our transaction. We get Trevor Story back as our DH.
Okay. Oh my God.
Yeah, this I wanted to give Chaim Bloom a chance. He's had his chance. He needs to go. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's trying to look at Tampa Bay. If Chaim Bloom could do what Tampa Bay did, like they're a small market team. They went through the draft and they know how to. The person running their show knows how to judge talent. Apparently, Chaim Bloom, when he was in that system, wasn't in charge of judging talent because we haven't had anyone hit yet. No. I mean, Jaron Duran is a lot better than he was last year.
Getting slightly dangerous. Yes. Yep.
Casas. I mean, I still have hope for Casas, but to throw your eggs all in one basket to have him come up and start, like you're setting them up to fail. They have ups and downs. Like teams like the Orioles, where they have nothing and they bring these guys up, they can sit and wait because nobody's expecting them to win anything. We're the Boston Red Sox. We have money to spend. We can have one of the highest payrolls and afford it. And you're trying to, bring up all these rookies so you can save money. It's not a good look. If you don't want to run the franchise the way that it should be run, if you want to compete with the Yankees and the Dodgers and now the Padres, who would have thought, 5 years ago that they were going to be big players.
Stacked. It's the Don Orsillo effect.
It's like sell the team. Sell the team if you don't want to put your money in and be a contender. If it's just part of your portfolio,
I was going to say it's one of your investments, and it feels every day, every week, every summer like it's less important.
Right. I love what they did when they first bought it. They got us 4 championships, but now if you're gonna get cheap on us, then sell it. I'm not ready to go another 86 years.
Yeah. Yep.
You and I can't wait that long.
No, I don't have that kind of time. So I thought he was down south, Greenfield, but is he in Portland or the Woo Sox? Where's Marcelo?
Mayer is up in Portland now.
Portland. Are they actually gonna wait? Do you think? Are they really not gonna? And here's the thing: don't rush the kid. Don't get him hurt. Don't put him in the deep end. Blah blah blah. That could also be a splash.
So
that could also be like, what are they waiting for? That could be the transaction that they're not going to make that we could already make because it's in our back pocket.
I don't see them. He wouldn't come up in July. If they're smart, if if for some reason Trevor Story can't come back and play shortstop in August, then you bring him up then. At that point, the Red Sox are probably going to be way out of it, so there's no pressure on
everybody on the field is wearing 86.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Let him play. I definitely think they should call him up, even if the Red Sox were in it. Have him come up in September and
get some experience.
Right. Get a
Yep.
sniff of it, and then next year, I don't like putting a lot of pressure on a rookie to start a season and be like, okay, you're going to be our shortstop going forward. Because if you, it's like let him start at AAA, come up end of April, May, see how it goes for a couple weeks. If he's doing all right, let him stay. If he struggles, let him go back down. And because you don't want to kill these guys' confidence. That's with professional athletes. That's their ego is why they are where they're at because they've always been the best and they're like not afraid to show it. And if you get one of these guys to start questioning themselves,
Right.
you could lose them. And it's like, if you just let him get a little bit of experience, bring him back down if it struggles, just play it that way. And then the next, after you do that for a season, then you bring him back for a full season. But let it, you gotta let them get their feet wet a little more than just a call up in September
Right.
before you throw them out there.
Right,
Unless the guy just comes in, tearing up the ball, when they come up in September. But even that, it's like once the rest of the league gets a book on you and they're gonna find out your deficiencies.
Yep.
And then that's the cat and mouse game where they're gonna pitch you this way. Can he make the right
Can he
corrections?
adapt? Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And that's what usually happens, where you have to figure out, like, oh yeah, if he's just gonna throw me a fastball all the time, yeah, I can hit it. Oh, now the curveball. Whoops. Didn't see a major league curve in the minors,
Yep. You weeks ago screamed they're ruining my summer. It hadn't even started yet. And then you guys went to a game. Do you and the boss see yourselves digging into your wallets to go again?
No,
at this
because I won tickets at.
Oh, that's why you went. That's why you went. I
No,
forgot.
we're going July 4th.
Oh, you were
Yeah.
going again because you won tickets. Okay, sorry.
Yes, yep. So we
Where are
won
you sitting?
tickets.
Who are they playing?
It's the Rangers, so we're going to see the AL Pitcher of the Month, possibly. You might have heard of him, Nathan Eovaldi.
Oh, no. Doesn't.
So, the AL Pitcher of the Month for the American League, League Pitcher of the Month for May was Nathan Eovaldi. The National League Pitcher of the Month for May was Michael Wacha. Two guys you might have heard of.
Oh my God.
Yep.
So, from a perspective standpoint, like Heimblum's not an idiot. Let's just start there, okay? He got a desk. He got a desk in the front office in Boston. It's a pretty important baseball town. Like, how do you explain he gets here and then it's almost like Will Smith marches up and Men in Blacks him? Like, what do you attribute this to? And you shared oxygen with him. You were in the room. You stood up and asked him a question. Was it you and Steph went to that event?
Yep.
Or
yep.
yeah, so
There's
and not in the George W. Bush kind of way, but I looked into his eyes. I saw his soul. Like, do you think he's an idiot? I don't.
So
I just don't know what's going on.
Well, so I think there's three things. One of three things that could tell the story. One, the front office told him
He's
you need to
handcuffed.
save money.
Yep.
And this isn't his fault. But also you have to be able to judge your own talent. So that's the thing. It's whoever's running the show in Tampa as far as players. They're developing their own players, and then they trade away the guys that they think maybe he could make it, maybe not. We're not 100% sure. We can trade him because we don't think so. So that's what they're not doing right now with the Red Sox. They're not like, you can trade and bring in more assets. Verdugo is decent, but you traded Mookie Betts and pretty much got nothing for him. You got a decent outfielder, not an all-star, that a potential MVP type player that you traded away. You didn't get any. Jeter Downs, probably not going to play in the majors again. And I forget what the third piece was. I think he was one of the pitchers that I don't know if we still have him. We may not even have that guy anymore. I mean, they drafted Brian Bayo. Bayo looks decent. Mayo has done great so far in single A. We'll see how he does in double A. So the drafting wise, possibly did all right. But as far as trading away pieces and getting pieces, it hasn't. And then, so that's, or three, he doesn't know what he's doing. He took, just because, I mean, look at here when Theo left, when Theo Epstein left, I don't remember because he didn't do so well. The guy who replaced him was on Theo's team and knew the analytics the same way he did.
Yes.
But Theo wasn't 100% analytics guy. He used stats to help him, but you still have to, like you just said about Hein Bloom, you still have to look inside the guy's eyes and see what you have. Like just because a guy puts up these stats in college or high school.
Ben Cherington and Jed Hoyer were the guys that came in afterwards.
Yeah.
I had their name because I remember, I think Cherington was dating or married to somebody in the news force in Boston. Like somebody at 7 News or something. Yeah. So they were all part of his team. Yeah.
Right. So Hein Bloom is part of the guy's team that has the Tampa Bay Rays in first place. So he's part of the team. He did part of something there, but he wasn't doing everything. So, they gave him a chance, and it doesn't look like he can do it. I would rather have Dombrowski type player that, but there's a fine line in between both of them. You like the guy who's going to spend money and go out and sign free agents and make the big splash with the trade, but you still have to get assets in your farm system so you can make those trades. So it's kind of it's an in-between. You need the guy that can do both, not kill your farm system, but still is able to go out and bring in those nice assets, especially when you're on the cusp of possibly winning and bringing in that right player. I think Don Sweeney did an excellent job this year. He was getting ripped for years, and I think he did a really good job bringing in Orlov, Bertuzzi, and I forget that Hathaway. Like those were great pickups.
Well, there's one more name too. I'm thinking of there's one more player that he brought in that was phenomenal. Why am I?
He brought Taylor Hall in the year before.
This year there was one more kid that he came in, and it wasn't Orlov. It was this. I'm trying to think of the name.
Hathaway, the kid from Maine.
And then there was one more name. Why am I doing? Stand by. Stand by.
Oh yeah. So, are you reading the? Can you see the chat?
I cannot see the chat. I'm not looking at the chat. I'm on another page right now.
Chris Chernick.
Yep. Chernick. Yep.
Chernick said Ben Cherington. He stunk. Then Hazen, Dombrowski, and O'Halloran. Cherington was married to Wendy Nix.
Oh my God, he's all over it. I love it. Lindholm, who I was thinking of.
Oh yeah, that was last year. Yep.
Was that last year? I felt like that was this year. I apologize.
No, he was here for the full season this year, which it came out. He had a broken foot in the playoffs.
And Foligno was a good get.
The roster he built for this past season was very good, and then
super good.
Additions he made at the deadline were really good. See what
Wendy
he does this
Nix.
summer.
I love. Wendy Nix was sports. Yeah, she was local sports. Yeah, that's really funny.
Yeah, she's on ESPN now.
Mm-hmm. Who isn't on ESPN? When are you getting your contract? Did you see all the talk about what Stephen A. The comparison of his contract to drawing a blank, the punter. Help me. Kid that punted for West Virginia.
Oh.
He's all over ESPN now. Pat McAfee.
McAfee, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know the numbers on it, but apparently he got some pie in the sky deal that's been made a big deal. So much so that Stephen A. came out to talk about the fact that he was very happy for him because they should all be paid handsomely and blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah.
Anyway.
I know that. Do you know that? I can't remember her last name. It's Charlie something. She's now with Fox News.
Mm-hmm.
When she was on ESPN, and she left. There's a lot of women leaving ESPN because they're not allowed to speak their mind on being a woman anymore.
Which is fascinating because they're owned by the conglomerate that is, Disney / everything else, which is pretty wide open on inclusivity.
Yeah, but I think it's the whole transgender thing in sports that they feel, they're taking the political line, saying that everyone should be able to play, and the women are saying women should be playing against biological women, and they don't like that they're saying that.
And it's like going back to the college swimming and what happened there, and
Right. Yep.
and there's a story at least once a week where somebody has transitioned and they're in a competition where it does matter that your size and your strength and the basic geometry of your body, which is
Yes.
predetermined based on your sex, has given you a massive advantage. And let's just go ice hockey. You've got a guy that transitions and he's now out playing for a women's ice hockey team.
Yeah.
And he's crushing your daughter up against the boards.
Right.
I feel differently about that, and it's just it flies in the face. None of these views are brought to you by Joe and Leslie at AAA Work Trucks. It flies in the face of, in the grand scheme of things, the promise of women's sports. Like if it is what it is, and we're going to celebrate that
so long and hard to get to where they are now.
Yes,
and
to have the WNBA and then I probably one of the biggest things, and then we can jump off this. I find it fascinating because Janina was launching into a stratosphere the other day. She's like, wait a minute, wait a minute. There was a story on the news about Girl Scouts, and then absent that. And the story about the Girl Scouts, it was a conversation about just Scouts. So there's no more Boy Scouts. They just call it Scouts, and women can enjoy that. Fine, whatever. And then there's still Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
So, okay.
That'll probably get changed.
There's a lot of inconsistencies. There's a lot of inconsistencies.
Yeah. I mean, I think the fairest thing is it's going to take a while because there's not a huge amount of transgender athletes out there right now, but they have to have their own leagues. Like the same with, so girls were wrestling with boys because there wasn't a lot of other girls that wanted to wrestle, but now they're starting to have their own class, and that's the fairest thing is, if you're a transgender person, then it's like I don't even know what I'm supposed to call that class, but transgender, I think I'm safe saying that. Have transgender sports, transgender athletes against transgender athletes. That's the fairest way.
Which, to your point, will take time to have enough people in those communities to build up leagues and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, great point. There's a girl in our ecosystem at my office that was talking about, and she's got to be 16, 18 years younger than me. But when she was at her school, which was a Catholic school, and she wanted to wrestle, and she wrestled on the boys' team. And You know, because that's what you did. We've all looked out and seen. Well, there's been multiple times this year where we were watching either youth lacrosse or different age groups with Aiden's club lacrosse league team, the Hooligans, out of Dover, or even what's that?
You had back in high school, Jackie Harris played football on
1,000%. Yes, yep, all that kind of stuff, and then.
Yep.
Yeah, I think there's going to be exhaustive conversations about this moving forward, and I just think it's counterintuitive to some of the arguments that you get. And I one of them is the Scouts and Girl Scouts. No more Boy Scouts; it's called Scouts. But then there's Girl Scouts. So there can be Girl Scouts, but there can't be Boy Scouts. There has to be Scouts. And I just and not 4,000% of my curiosity.
We could go into a big hole.
We're doing this without Adam here. It's phenomenal. Yeah, he'll be so proud of us. We got to do a political discussion without him here. Yes. And serendipitously on his daughter's birthdays, which are they're both going to be female athletes for sure, because they don't have a choice because they live in his house. So, and one's a swimmer, right? One's a swimmer. One plays hoop. I mean, they play a ton of sports, but I can't remember if it's Charlotte or Molly and who swims and who plays basketball. But anyway, nonetheless, volleyball, all that stuff. Hopkins. This doesn't make sense for like so many reasons, because everybody's talked about, and from a Patriots standpoint, anytime we've tried to bring in that big player, absent Randy, and even he wore out his welcome. Remember, he had that speech at the podium talking about my kid needs sneakers, and he wasn't celebrating the fact that, Wesley Welker had just come back from a massive knee injury. All that aside, it never makes sense when we try to pursue this star player. I don't see him folding in. And what's even more curious is there was the rub between him and coach, and now there's, whether they're whitewashing that and they're like, oh, no, it's going to be fine. Billy O'Brien will figure it out. Everybody will figure it out. Write him a check, get him in here. And we don't have the escape artist. We don't have the person that you put out on the sideline that grabs all the attention and frees up everything over the middle. Are they doing this just to do it? Bill was pissed the other day. You could tell he was annoyed. And he referred to the fact that he's not a travel agent and he doesn't know when he's getting here and all this kind of stuff and blah, blah, blah.
I think they're...
What are your thoughts? Do you think it comes to fruition? Do you think it works if it does?
I think they're just kicking the tires to make it look good for the fans that oh, look, we tried, but he's probably gonna get way too much money that we're not willing to pay. Nor should we. We're not one player away from winning a Super Bowl. Like if we were one player away and adding him could put us over the top, absolutely go for it. But we're not at that point right now. We're hopefully we don't end up in last place in the
right. Yep.
In the East.
So where does he go?
So he's visited. The only other team I've heard he's visited is Tennessee. But I heard rumors about Cleveland, which that makes sense because Deshaun Watson and him were together with Houston. So let's see. Where could he go that makes sense? Who's? I mean, I've heard rumors about Kansas City, which they lost. They lost Tyreek Hill, and not that they lost a step last year. They won the Super Bowl, but they could use that. They lost Smith-Schuster, so they could definitely add a piece like that, and that would keep them up there. Buffalo makes sense to add that type of play. Having him and Diggs would be a nice pairing.
Did you see the news that Diggs is apparently there's stuff going on? There's something going on between Diggs and
Allen.
Oh God. Yep. Thank you. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So he came out. He came out and talked to the press and said there's some stuff going on that we need to work on, and I love him. He's part of this team and all this stuff. So apparently he was in the building, but then not at practice or something like that. So
Yeah. Well,
And they were like,
stay away from Buffalo. Don't bet on Buffalo this year.
you think they'll be that messy?
The Madden curse.
Oh, who's on the cover?
Josh Allen.
Is it Josh Allen on the cover? I didn't hear that. Hasn't
that
somebody
came out
somebody's
last
blown that
week, I
up
think.
recently though, haven't they?
I'm think. Oh, I don't
feel
know.
like- feel
I
like
don't
somebody
follow it,
cracked
but I know the day that it was announced. I think it was EEI. I was listening to Arcan and Mego
Yep.
and Jones. They were saying Jones was all over it being in Arcan because they used to buy like all the Maddens, and so
Yep.
they were talking about it, saying stay away from Buffalo and Josh Allen.
Interesting.
They
I
believe
didn't know
it.
I got the cover. Yeah, I think bigger than that is when you get the because they always give away the MVP right before the Super Bowl. That to me is a bigger curse. It's very rare that the
You're
MVP
playing in the game. Yeah.
the MVP that it's very rare the MVP gets the Super Bowl
Yeah.
historically. So who knows? I'll be annoyed if he ends up there. And I don't know where I want him. I don't see him here. I think if he does come here, it'll be a bust. But I don't like. I'm annoyed now, and I'll give him credit though. There's been word as of late that there's been a huge conversation with Mahomes that he's so happy now just winning. It's not about the money. So he's basically said he hasn't said out loud he's going to restructure, but he will.
Oh yeah.
Because if you look at the microfiche and you're like, how did Brady pull it off? Because Brady took $27 a year for 37 years. That's how he pulled it off. So that $500 million has to get drilled down a little bit. And I think Kelsey still leaves. I think they still can't afford to keep him when it gets to that point. I think he still probably goes somewhere. I think is he this year and then he's done? Is his last year?
right.
Yeah, and he's a
Yeah.
free agent after that. I still don't think they keep him because I think he's going to go get like a huge payday. But yeah, they got rid of Tyreek Hill and still won the Super Bowl. So
Yep.
there was like, oh my God, that'll be a game changer. He was his safety valve. No, he wasn't. I think Kelsey's a bigger safety valve than Tyreek was. And that proved out to be true.
If they lose
I think.
Kelsey,
Yeah.
that will be a huge hit.
Well, maybe that's why he's having these inspired conversations about, wanting to win and not wanting to get paid.
Yeah.
It's just more fun money for his brother. Dear God.
Subliminal messages out there for the rest of the team.
I'm sure he called Kelsey and said, let's start talking about next year. Because they also don't want to wait till he's a free agent either, although he's probably still going to want to explore. I don't think there's something they could throw in front of him that would convince him to stay at this point. Because he'd probably love to go to Miami or LA, somewhere where it's warm, where there's
Or maybe play with his brother, maybe.
Yeah, true. There's that. Horrifying. They're so different. They're so different.
Yeah.
His brother's podcast is funny, and like they're always doing like making country music and stuff like that, and he's like a complete hip hop head. Anyway, golf. You hadn't seen the tee times,
I haven't. No.
so
Oh
all
yeah,
I know because
it's the U.S. Open this week.
Yep, LA Country Club starts tomorrow, and apparently the big news, the tee time, is that it's going to be Rory and Koepka are teeing off
don't you love
together.
how they randomly put these things together?
That
it
so
just
randomly.
happened to
Well,
be
it's a smart
Rory
move.
and
They're gonna milk this for all they can. Also fascinating. Never mind that tea time tomorrow, which will be appointment television if you're near a TV. Jay Monahan has stepped away from his role for now for medical reasons, which is interesting. So and all kidding aside, I hope everyone's okay. I also think it's the timing is rich because maybe he doesn't want to be at the U.S. Open dealing with all the questions at the LA Country Club because it's going to be exhausting. And maybe he does have some shit going on, hypertension or high blood pressure, or he feels an aneurysm coming on. Like, I'd probably peace out. Fascinating that Greg Norman is going to be on the short end of this entire stick. Like they've already said, and who knows, because nobody really knows anything. The one number I've heard thrown around now, which I got to be honest, sounded small in the grand scheme of things. The Saudis' original investment, that who knows if this is true, is $10 billion. And I guess I just expected a bigger number than that. With like,
that's pretty big.
I'm not saying it's not, but like, Liv's going to go by the wayside. They're going to form this new thing. It won't be the PGA anymore. It's going to be whatever the hell they're going to call it. I just guess I pictured a bigger number for them to sort of come in and drop their dick in everybody's suit,
Years away from happening.
You think though? I feel like they're talking about like it's going to be in 24, like next winter it starts.
There's a lot of paperwork that has to be approved. Not only in-house with the PGA players, like they have to approve stuff, and then it has to be approved by the Department of Justice also.
I get that. I also, if the motivation for this was to get their claws into the American market because they realized Liv couldn't do that for them. If the motivation for this was to get to profitability, and as we've seen in the last 3 weeks, Bill, money, cash moves everything around me, right? Yeah. So I don't know how they don't fast track this, and money's going to make that happen. Because Jay Monahan saw things differently when he had new information in front of him, which we now know is apparently a $10 billion check. I don't think this goes slow. I appreciate, yes, Department of Justice, everybody has to approve it. But who is everybody? Because they made this decision without anybody's input. And the players aren't stockholders or shareholders, but they all found out after it was done.
But the PGA board, which is 5 appointed people and 5 players, have to approve this, and the players are gonna want stuff in the contract that says the people that left for Liv are gonna have to pay for leaving, and the people that were offered contracts from Liv and didn't take it and stayed have to be compensated for it. They're not going to sign off on that unless something is done with those 2 things. They're pissed off with the Liv guys more than fans are. The players that stayed, and then this even pissed them off more, where they, behind the closed doors,
about it later.
Deals were made, and so they're not very happy. They're, money's one, unless they just say, okay, everyone at PGA, we're going to give you all, $10 million each to make peace. Then it could go over pretty smoothly. But we'll see. I don't think it'll happen for a few years. Like,
so when does this new entity start?
Eyes
what
will
do you
be
think?
dotted. And so let's see. So the season's just about. Well, the majors are done, right? This
weekend.
USO.
You still got British. Still got British. Yep. Or the Open, as they call it. Yes.
So when did that change? I know as a kid it was the British Open, and then at some point it's the Open.
I swear to you, that's the Mandela effect. I swear to you, it's always been the Open. We call it the British Open because we're Americans. Yep. It's the Open and the U.S. Open because the U.S. Open came after.
Yeah.
Yep. It's always been the Open.
I always remember.
1,000%.
Yeah. Well, I have a soft leaving at around 6. I have my haircut, but my haircut's later than I thought it was. So I'm not a hard out at 6, but I'm a soft around 6. So it's it'll be So I'm glad you reminded me about golf because I totally would have forgotten. And Sunday would have sat down.
Tis the Open.
U.S. Open was open. I know it's always Father's Day. Like eventually it would have come around to me that I'm like, oh yeah, Father's Day weekend, U.S. Open.
Yep. And it's going to rain all weekend, which is really fascinating.
At the
No, I'm saying up here.
Oh.
Up here. This is a weekend that I love to play all the golf, and my office is closed on Monday for Juneteenth, so it could be like a 3-day weekend full of golf, and it's just rain.
I'm playing golf Saturday.
Yes.
As you know.
Yes.
And I looked at the forecast for Guilford, New Hampshire, specific. And the one app I have, like, so all the apps show rain every day, right? But it's not complete washouts. So one of the apps I looked at said rain is gonna stop around 10 a.m. on Saturday, and then the rest of the day is dry. So I have tee times at 9, so it might get a little wet to start, but that's, and same with Sunday. Sunday is supposed to be early morning showers and then nothing the rest of the day. So yes, it's supposed to rain on those days, but it's not like washout rain. The whole weekend's gone.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Well,
so hopefully, I'm hoping a couple more days because originally it was like noontime that rain was supposed to end. Now it's moved down to 10. Now I'm hoping by actually Saturday it gets here, it'll be like 8 o'clock, and it'll be a wet course, but we won't have to wear our rain gear, hopefully.
I got weather.com, Guilford, New Hampshire, Saturday the 17th, 65 for a high, 57 for a low, scattered thunderstorms, 66% chance of rain.
But wins the rain. It doesn't see that doesn't say like when it's supposed to rain. It just says 60% chance of rain.
In the hourly, in the hourly, yeah. I didn't go into the hourly. I'm just looking at the overall.
So that's one of the apps I have. I can go 10 days out and look at
into the
hourly.
Yes.
So
yes, AccuWeather Premium and Weather Premium. Yes.
Yeah, so hopefully this one is right. I'll only have a little rain, maybe.
When is your tee time?
A little bit. 9 o'clock.
All right, hang on. I'll do this, then we'll get you off to your haircut. Hang on a second. Adam will appreciate that we're doing the weather for your golf. He's going to love this.
We got thunderstorms getting close right now, too.
Oh, delicious. Guilford, stand by. That's Friday. You're 9 o'clock on Saturday. Guilford, New Hampshire, Saturday the 17th, 9 a.m., 61 degrees, 58% chance of rain. 10 a.m., 61 degrees, 58%. 11, 62 degrees, 58%. 12, 63 degrees, 58%. You're at 58% chance of rain straight through 9 p.m. But I've also seen something really weird, that it doesn't mean 58% chance of rain in the town of Guilford. It means a 58% of Guilford is going to be in the rain. Have you heard that?
No.
That's sorcery, which I don't know if I ever believed that. But yes, that's the new thing, is that the 58 percentile doesn't mean that there's a 60-ish% chance of rain that hour. It means that hour, 60% of the town of Guilford will experience rain, which I don't know if I believe that. I'm sticking with what I grew up to know. Santa Claus comes down the chimney, we get gifts. That's what I'm going to stick with as an adult who loves golf. All right, buddy. I'll get you up to your haircut. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Please subscribe, like, share. Tell Rubber Shoes to put a shirt on. Whatever you want to do. We're brought to you by AAA Work Trucks. We'll get Scotty back next week. We'll get Adam back next week. And there's news on right now about Living PGA and all the money going out the window. We'll talk more about that, and the Red Sox and the Bruins and the Celtics, and whether D-Hop comes to play with us or not. I'm a hard no on that. And if he does show up, I think it's going to be terrible. So there, for the record. Have a great week. We'll see you in and around the internet. Take care.